In this video, we will cover transformations with constructions, and we will cover 4 different types of transformations. The first being the line of reflection. So here in this picture, we're given triangle ABC, which is reflected over some line to map onto triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. And we're asked to construct that line of reflection. So our first step says to use a straight edge and draw a segment connecting the pre-image point to an image point, such as C to C prime. So I'm going to take my straight edge and connect C onto C prime. From here, we're asked to construct the perpendicular bisector of this segment. So I'm going to take my compass and set it on C, my center on C. And remember that when you do the perpendicular bisector construction, your radius must be greater than half of the segment. So if I just pull this off of here, you can see my center is here, my radius is here, which is about 3/4 of the way of this segment C, C prime. So I'm going to start the construction by swinging an arc below and above. Ooh, my surface is not very good to do this on. Let me see if I can get something better here. Not sure if this will help, but maybe. Okay, trying again. Then I'm going to switch and use the same radius without changing the compass whatsoever. Put my center on C prime and swing that same arc. Then my last step is to construct that straight line, the perpendicular bisector. This straight line represents our line of reflection. As you can see here, this line of reflection would map triangle ABC onto A prime, B prime, C prime. Because here, if I were to count some distances, I know we're not in a graph, but if I count the distance or measure the distance between B and the line, and then B prime and the line, we would know that these are equidistant. The same with C and C prime. They're the same distance because I bisected that distance with the perpendicular bisector. Our next construction is for the point of rotation. So we're going to start this construction in a very similar way. Connect C to C prime, a pre-image point to its image point, and construct the perpendicular bisector of it. So again, C to C prime, radius more than halfway, and swing an arc. Swing that same arc using the same radius from the other side. Then I'm going to draw the straight line, the perpendicular bisector, right through. And I'm going to be sure to extend it pretty long, because eventually I will need the 2 perpendicular bisectors to intersect. So I'm going to do this construction one more time. This time I'm going to choose to connect B and B prime, another pre-image point and its image point. I could choose A and A prime, but I'm just choosing B and B prime because it's the next one I saw. Open up my radius so that it's more than halfway, and swing an arc above and below. Switch, same radius, swing above and below. Then I'm going to connect my light blue arcs with one another. Oops. Ignore that little curvy part there. But as you can see, those 2 pink lines, the perpendicular bisectors, intersect each other. And it says here that the intersection of the 2 bisectors is our point of rotation. So here I see them intersecting at this point. Now, as you can see on mine, it happens to be where my first original arcs crossed. But yours may not be the same. It just depends on how big you made your arcs. But as long as you're looking for where the 2 straight lines cross each other, you're going to be okay. So here, this is my point of rotation. This first triangle up here, ABC, was rotated around this point to map onto triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. Our next construction is the dilation by a scale factor greater than 1. And so our first example says that we're going to dilate by a scale factor of 2, centered about point D. Using a straight edge, draw a segment that goes through point D and A. So I'm going to take D, connect it to A, and extend it. Make sure this segment is plenty long. Measure distance from D to A. So center on D, radius on A. With your point on A, so I'm going to move my compass to point A, mark off the distance of the segment we drew in step 1. So I'm just going to swing a baby arc to do this, and label this point as A prime. Repeat these steps for B and C. So I'm going to again connect D, I'm turning my paper, connect D to point B, and extend it. Then measure that distance, center on D, radius on B, swing a little baby arc to show we measured, and then swing that same baby arc with my center on B, swing that same baby arc out here to create B prime. Then last but not least, D to C. Measure from D to C, swing a little baby arc to show that you've measured, pick it up, center on C, swing a baby arc, and call this C prime. The last step is to connect the new images, A prime, B prime, and C prime. So now my triangle ABC grew 2 times the size because it was a dilation by scale factor of 2. And that's shown by looking at this distance. This was 1 time, now this is twice. So this length here, DA prime, is twice as big as DA. And our last construction is to dilate by a scale factor less than 1. So for this particular example, we're going to look at a scale factor of 1/2. So this figure should shrink, and because it's centered at D, it's going to shrink towards D. My first step is to connect point A to D. I don't have to extend beyond in either direction this time because I'm shrinking towards D. My next step is to bisect segment AD. So swing those smiley arcs, make that fishy looking thing where my center's on A, radius is more than halfway, and I swing the first arc, switch, keep the radius the same, swing that second arc, draw the perpendicular bisector, and then this point where the bisector crosses the segment I bisected is now called A prime. Then I'm going to do the same thing for B to D and C to D. So I connected B to D. I'm going to swing a smiley arc, switch, without changing the radius, swing another smiley arc, and then connect. Again, I'm looking for where my straight perpendicular bisector crosses the line segment I drew in originally, BD. So here I now have point B prime. And last but not least, I need to do C and D. I'm again going to turn my paper because it's easier to do the bisector when the paper is turned. Close up my radius some, but still keeping it more than halfway. Remember, it's easiest to do these constructions with nothing under your paper. I have a lot of stuff under my paper because of the way that I had to shoot the video. So things aren't going so smoothly for me, but if you make sure that you have nothing underneath your paper, your compass should move a lot smoother than mine. And again, this is now point C prime. So my last step is to connect points A prime, B prime, and C prime. Okay, so I know this picture looks crazy, but you can see the original triangle ABC shrunk by a scale factor of 1/2. It got smaller to now become A prime, B prime, C prime. Remember, you can always go back and pause the video, rewind if you need to, so that you can make sure that you have all of these steps written down and constructed on your picture.